Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Luke and today I'm going to be talking about Better Man. So last night was our first secret movie screening of the year. So if you're not familiar with that, Cinemark and Regal usually have one, maybe two times a month where they have like a mystery movie or a secret screening to where it's one night, usually on a Monday, same time. You don't know what it is until you get there. And last night it was Better Man. This is the musical biopic of Robbie Williams. Now, if you're coming back to the channel, then you'll know like I just did the review for the Bob Dylan biopic, so you can go check that out and hear my thoughts there. When it comes to Better Man, I saw the trailer for this maybe twice last year, kind of like the end of the year. So there wasn't a whole lot of PR or marketing around this movie. But Better Man is the story around Robbie Williams. Now, it's looking into other reviews around this and just some early reactions, it's quite interesting to see that a lot of people are just not very familiar with Robbie Williams. I actually am. Like I said in the Bob Dylan, I grew up with music. It's been a big part of my life. A lot of my younger years was watching like VH1 and MTV back when those channels were primarily around music videos and not so much around the original content, movies, documentaries, or whatever. So Robbie Williams is an artist that came up quite a bit. So there are quite a few songs I was familiar with. One particular part of the story is that he was part of a boy band. I do not quite remember that. There was like one song in the movie that kind of rang a bell, so it's probably heard this maybe through a music video or through some other movie in the past, but that's just a small part of the story. But this movie is told through Robbie Williams. He narrates the movie and also voices himself. The unique factor with this movie is that himself is basically an ape. It is like a CGI version of himself, but instead of being him, it is an ape. And we follow his story from his childhood to where he ends up in more recent years. He has such a unique relationship with his family, growing up with a mother and father, living with his grandmother as well. And at a young age, he always knew that he wanted more. He wanted to be a star. He basically was hungry for fame. And his father was as well. And you could see that a lot of this initial setup was his relationship with his father as he watched his father basically go out and perform and try to build up his own fan base, his own audience, and try to become famous as well. It was always their dream watching, Frank Sinatra and other artists on TV and how they're performing for, thousands, if not millions of people. And their dream was always to be someone like that. They wanted to perform in front of, thousands and thousands of people. And we see a lot of struggle with Robbie's father as he's out there trying to make it and basically just ends up distancing himself from his family. He does come back later into the movie, and there's a lot of things there they probably could have gone in a little bit more depth in. This kind of family situation you see happen before, like where family members leave, though if someone else gets fame or fortune, they always want to come back and be a part of it. And we get a little bit of that here, but not as much. But we see as Robbie is moving into his teenage years, he auditions to join a boy band and ends up getting in. The boy band is called Take That. So we get a good chunk of this following their journey as they're working with their manager, going into their initial shows and what led to their fame. There were some great choreography numbers. There's one particular with the boy band as they're like dancing and singing in the streets. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie. I thought it was very well done. We do get to the point where we see that Robbie Williams essentially leaves the boy band. There could have been a little bit more there. There's moments where I wish we could have gotten more insight from the manager. It's almost positioned in a similar way of Steve Jobs' story. So if you're not familiar with that, Steve Jobs founded Apple. At one point, the board basically kind of forces him to leave. Steve Jobs does leave, starts another company, which basically ends up getting him back into Apple, where he regains control. Not so much in this with Robbie in terms of like starting another like boy band or whatever, but it's really about Robbie pushing himself to want to go start a solo career. And that's another big part of this, is we see that Robbie is constantly fighting with his own demons. part of it to me felt like maybe imposter syndrome. He's always writing, he always has a notebook, he wants to sing, he wants to write songs and do his own material, but he always is hesitant of sharing that, especially with the boy band. They always kind of pick on him about it. And as he leaves that to go try and do his own career, you know, he's doing a lot of cover songs, but eventually he knows he needs to make a mark. And now he's trying to be very vulnerable and start sharing what he's been writing about and singing those songs. And then when we get to that moment, we start hearing a lot of songs that I think many will be familiar with, some that top the US charts. And then from there, we're also seeing him face with his other demons as well. There's a lot of addiction through drugs and alcohol. There is a romance entrance that he has, and there's a lot of some interesting story there. That part I was not familiar with, where his wife was part of a girl band and there was some family related factors that came in. Don't want to spoil anything. Some of that, you know, I haven't fact checked, so I don't know how accurate it is, but that was part of his story I was not familiar with. But all in all, I thought the choreography was great, the music numbers were great, having Robbie Williams come in and kind of narrate it and voice his own story was fantastic. A lot of emotional. There was so many moments, especially getting to the end of this, that I was definitely feeling the emotions, and there was certain things I could connect with and understand. And I think having him narrate this will help the viewers understand, because, you know, who else to tell his life story other than himself, because he went through it. And then stay through the credits because it shows like things that actually happen that kind of mirror in the movie, which is really cool as well. But all in all, Robbie Williams, I think this is a great way to get more people introduced to him and his story and understand like what he went through and what led him to his career. I think this could be inspirational to a lot, especially those that are wanting to be artists in any way, whether it's music, dance, or some other form of art. I think there's a lot here that people can take in and appreciate. And it's one that I find that could be very rewatchable down the road. If you saw this one, let me know what you think in the comments. With all the biopics that we've been getting lately, do you have a favorite? Let's talk about that in the comments. Also, if you're a fan of Robbie Williams, what are some of your favorite songs? I'll list mine in the comments as well. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel, and hope everyone has a great week, and I'll be back again soon.